So I have a website. It's joresults.com. You just go to that, and all you do is you type in that website, JO Results with an O. And I'm feeling very ebullient today. So you type it in, and you get your ebook, and it's free. And there's 20 pages, and you get to learn there's a fair amount of information in there that you can learn. And if you like it, you can join my community. And it's only $27 per month. And all upside, no downside. And I'm here with Underdog Millionaire. And we're going to talk today about business and different things regarding that. Or we could talk about other topics as well. I'm very open minded to our conversations that we have. How are you doing today?
Well, if I was any better, Johnny, I'd be as sexy as you with that radio voice you got going on over there. But I'm doing all right. What would you want to focus on? I'm mostly focused on business, so that's my area of expertise. How can I be of service, brother?
Well, I will start with asking you what got you into business and what areas do you currently work in with people?
Gotcha. Well, what got me into business was a passion for owning my own time, right? Which I do now. The only reason to actually start a business, technically, is to sell a business. And the only reason to grow a business is so that you can buy time. And that time is to spend doing the things you love with those you care about. So, I mean, in my past, I've built and sold over 100 successful companies. I currently own nine that I have nine CEOs run and operate. But for me, my time is best spent with family and a great focus now on giving back and helping the entrepreneur community.
That sounds amazing. It's a lot of different companies. A lot of people can't even run one or two companies, but from the sounds of it, to run that many companies, you have to have some pretty good systems in place.
Now, systems is key, right? I spent 20 years of my initial adult life as a Marine in the Marine Corps, and depending, where you are in the world, United States Marines is feared throughout the world. They're not the biggest force, they're the baddest, but they have and they operate on systems. So to keep the smallest functioning force in the world with everyone afraid of you, it's got to be three things, right? It's mindset, skill sets, action steps, and those things function by systems, right? So it's regarded as America's 911 force for a specific reason, right? So I learned a lot of those same systems, applied it to business. Uh, Something similar with a little twist of my own that I use to consult a lot of my Fortune 100 companies like Walmart, Jafra, Nice Media, Cover, Chevron, or Walgreens, right? Those are my top five clients since '09 to now. So to move the needles of giants, you need systems. So yeah, you caught on real fast. Don't let anybody misjudge the brain on you, brother.
Yeah, I feel like you're a pretty smart guy as well. And well, I will say that I have started incorporating AI into some of the things that I'm doing now. And I feel like there's just so much potential. It's almost feels limitless to the future of it and what can be done. Some people are really into it. Some people aren't into it. It all depends on the person. Like, for instance, you have a billionaire, Warren Buffett, and he's really not into as far as I know, the information stuff until recently, like crypto and IT and AI. So there's definitely split ideas and ideologies. And I always think of what he said as like if you're swinging a bat and there's balls coming at you. So a baseball bat is, what you have, and you don't have to swing unless you really know that idea really well and you feel extremely confident about it and you know it's going to be good. And then you swing and you hit and you just wait until that one comes, and that's what he says, and that's how I treat business whenever I look at it. If there's something that I feel very confident about, I understand it well, I've researched it, then I go all into it and I learn from that. Do you use AI in any of your businesses, and what are your thoughts on it?
It's a great question. And in every endeavor, so I use AI in 8 of my 9 companies right now. But in every generation, with everything we have, there's always pros and cons to everything, which is what gives us healthy debate, right? Healthy debating is always good. And anyone can gain any level of success being pro or against, right? I mean, we just had the United States just swore in Trump into office yesterday, right? Fine for the second time. So many people didn't like him the first time, but more liked him the second time again. And he's still there and there's still harsh feelings, right? So it's just like anything else. Wherever you put your energy, you go back to a lot of some of the principles taught in The Secret and all this other stuff, right? But wherever attention goes, energy flows, right? It doesn't matter what it is. If you're for AI, if you're not, then so be it. But whatever you focus on, it will get bigger. You will learn more, and the human mind has the capacity to create and develop just about anything. AI is just one of them. It's been coming since the 70s. Now it's just a little more pronounced, right? So folks can be afraid of it, or they could be those who embrace it. Regardless, it's here and it's not going anywhere.
Woo! I like the way you said that. Now let's go. I want to go into systems more, if you're okay with that, and talk about break down
Yeah,
some of your
absolutely.
businesses and how you run them, and maybe how you use AI in those systems. That would be really interesting to hear about.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I learned very early on in the military is the commander on the battlefield. Like, for example, the lieutenant and the general, earlier in the general's life, he was a lieutenant, but he's no longer fighting on the front lines. He has better lieutenants, captains, majors, lieutenant colonels, and colonels running the battle for him.
Right.
So, with that same piece, I run 9 companies. I don't run them. I founded them. I advise, I coach, and I consult them now because I hired 9 CEOs
Yeah.
to do that,
Yeah.
right? And as new things come up, we discuss what might be a fit, what might not be a fit. I'm always of the class of like, if you have an opposing idea and I have one, let's run both, see what wins, and then go with that. Right. It's not, I'm not going to throw up and say, well, it's just because the company's going to grow to my level or my limit. It is, let's see what is going to work, keep focused on what we have. So early days, I started taking when ClickFunnels came out before GHL did, right? Split test everything. So you run, you have a different idea, split test it. Run it with, run it without, see what works. However, we do know that with technology and software, especially incorporating AI today, we can get a whole lot more done in a short amount of time, especially with redundant tasks. Right? You can custom train processes for sales, for intake, for marketing, to do everything that you normally do so you can actually relax. When it does most of the mundane tasks, if you can simplify that and use artificial intelligence for it, bless you. If you can't, because you're stuck, then don't blame the guy whose his business is forwarding more than yours and you're refusing to move. Right? A mentor of mine years ago told me, well, after I responded, like I'm stuck, wasn't getting where I need to go. He says simply this: you are not stuck. You are simply refusing to move. And that was a huge, huge eye opener for me. Most folks, your business might not be moving because you're not incorporating artificial intelligence. As long as you have to, as long as business have anything to do with you, it's only going to grow as much as you yourself grow. If you don't grow personally and develop greater, your income level stays the same. Your understanding stays the same. It's the same reason for those who play the lottery. First of all, they're not working and expanding themselves. But typically within 3 to 5 years, if they won $100 million, they'll come back to where their development level was because they don't know how to build and maintain that income. They don't know how to scale it. They only won it once. So they're going to go on a spendthrift and then come back to being worse than they were before.
Completely agree with you. And I think a lot of it has to do with frequencies and the way that people see the world, the way that they perceive the world. I just did a podcast with Holly McNeil, who's a life coach, and we were talking about how if you have these negative thoughts and negative beliefs, what you're going to do is you're going to portray that out into the world. and you're going to receive those types of people in your life based
Absolutely.
on the way that you think and the way that you feel. Now, like what you said, if you think that you're stuck, chances are you're going to be stuck. But if you instead have the mindset that, you know what, this is me and I can still surpass whatever it is, whatever barrier or boundary that you think is preventing you from going forward, really it's the mindset and you can still achieve it
It is.
if you take the right steps forward and you don't give up. And a lot of people give up. There will be some kind of situation or something that seems difficult or seems impossible in the moment, but if you keep doing it and you keep going after whatever it is that you want and you look at different aspects, different angles, I think that someone can be very successful. But being around the right people is so vital too to having great success
Absolutely.
because there's a lot of people in this world who aren't around positive people. And even if you are a positive, intelligent person, if you're only around negative people who are trying to bring you down and they don't believe in any dreams or goals that you have, it's very, very difficult to have success. So that's why I surround myself with people that are driven and I weed out the people that aren't and I politely stay away from them. Hopefully that made sense.
You have to. Um, Understanding that, the piece that you shared on mindset, right? Your philosophy is what drives it all. So your philosophy is really everything you know, how you hold it, and how it affects what you do. So if you have someone looking, let's talk business and money, finances, right?
Okay.
Someone that's only had learned as much to generate $100,000 a year wants to get to $1 million a year. It's almost an impossibility to do so if they don't change the philosophy, because what you think affects what you say affects what you do, and what you do over time compounds, and that becomes your lifestyle. So if you don't have the awareness of someone who generates $1 million, you won't take the action to do so.
Yeah.
Understanding that awareness does lead to change, but first, awareness leads to choice. Choice leads to action. Actions creates results, and results compounded drives change. So if you're not aware of it, of course, you can't take the right action. So you're going to stay right where you're at, treading
Yeah.
water the entire time, not realizing if you only move one hand in front of the other in the direction you're looking, you can actually swim. So you'll just stay there until you're tired and eventually drown, right? So
Definitely.
apply it to finances, it's the exact same thing.
What do you think of if you could pick which pillars or which areas? I'm interested to hear what you like and what has worked for you in regard to running different businesses, such as ads, running different ads, making content online, and doing outreach, direct outreach, and referrals. I'd love your thoughts on those different areas and what you think about different ones.
Yeah. It would kind of be, regardless of what I think, it's what's pronounced now, right? In today's market, we're in the information age, so content is king, right?
Yeah,
And however best you get your content out there, one of the fastest ways, obviously, would be probably maybe to run ads, but you got to get the content first. It's got to be the right content directed to the right people. But one of the points you mentioned earlier, if you're in the right groups or communities, right, and you're sharing the content and folks are consuming that content, the content gets shared over and over multiple times. So you could have a combination of organic and inorganic reach, which is using what you have to. But in the perfect world, if your content is being shared and people are excited to get to it, there's only but so much you can do. So you have to automate that process after a while, right? Whether it's hiring someone to do the work or getting back to, using AI assistants to do outreach and setting up appointments on your calendar. Are you going to be the one sitting down there doing 8 to 10 calls a day? Or will you set up a team or have someone screen to do it? So eventually, the more successful you become, you're forced to outsource anyways. You're forced to do all those things, right?
yeah,
So if you're not, then your business is not at the level you want it to be, right? Success forces you to change the way you think. And if you're not changing the way you think, then you're never becoming successful at the next level. The next level always requires you to do things that you're not doing at the current level, period.
Very brilliantly put, I would say. I'd say it's very brilliantly put. And there, mm, for me, when I look at content, I post it every day. My current goal right now with the business that I'm running as a dating coach is I do 3 shorts. That is the goal, and one long form content every day. And I look at the other people who do content, and a lot of other coaches in this industry do not post that much. Some do, but most don't. So I look and I compare. And one other thing that I've been using a lot frequently is I use the 4 ChatGPT 4.0, and I every day, even just for a little bit of time, and I discuss with it what are some things that I can do to optimize what I'm doing. Even with scheduling, I do. If I want to do a schedule, I said, what do you think is the best? I don't think it's always 100%, but there's a lot of positives, even in just using that. And even in regarding to team, I can ask it like, what what are some suggestions based on the information that you have on the internet that could improve a team that I'm running right now? And I found some interesting results using that. What are some things that you'd like to do in the future with all the success that you've had and running all these businesses? Where would you like to go? I know you said family is very important to you right now. So, would you be more interested in spending more time with your family or looking over these 9 businesses as a combination while being with your family? What are some other things you have planned in the future?
Oh, well, my future is here. The future I live now is one I planned 20 years ago. I Most who knows me know I'm professionally homeless. So I live nowhere. I'm bordered nowhere. I'm a global citizen. The past few years, we've been living at all-inclusive resorts around the world. So uh, those businesses run themselves with CEOs who are competent more than I am, and I spend all the time with my family. I do a lot of now offer in as the Underdog Millionaire. I do a lot of consulting for high ticket coaches and entrepreneurs who will come and spend time at a resort. We'll spend a week together. We'll do a retreat or a mastermind, depending on what they need. So monetizing my lifestyle that way, that's the ideal space to be for me. Then most of my days, if I do something, it'll be investing, right? I had a few investment calls today, but that's it. That future is here. That's what I wanted to do 20 years ago, and I just kind of actively retired, right? However, I tried retiring 3 times. It didn't stick. So I'm young enough, have energy, and as you come up with ideas, we'll start something new, sell a new company, or start a new project. But I love teaching and sharing, so I do that from wherever I am in the world.
Excellent. And if someone saw you from my podcast, how would they be able to reach you?
Right now, the easiest is to connect with me via Facebook, social media, or you can just Google me. Um, Google is going to give you a whole bunch of pages, right? Or they can just go to connectwithdrobam.com, and that'll more direct them to the top 3 things I'm focused on. I normally do an annual birthday bash, sort of hang out at a resort for a week, have a mastermind, or just an excuse to travel. We do have an entrepreneurial community, and they can find that there, where me and one of my CEOs will do a hot share once a week for someone. Rather than paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to have that time, we'll do that once a week for our community, help folks build their business, do a chance to network and connect and collaborate. Most of my time now is spending getting my network together, right? So the next unforeseeable future, my time is spent just giving back, serving, and helping until I get bored and my 6-year-old is a teenager and wants to run something else. Right now, it's just free play.
Nice. Nice. That sounds really good. You are, like I said, well, you know what? I will say this. I really enjoy talking to you, and you're very insightful in the things that you say. And I found it very fascinating how you oversee your companies because there's a lot of people that are afraid to even sell their companies that they own. And to talk about this ideology where you own your company, then you sell your company. A lot of people can't even grasp that or think about the possibility of doing that. But yeah, I think that's the goal of most people. What they have is to, because if you can, they might not even realize it, but if you can build a team and then you can sell your company, that's one of the best things that you can do. And it makes a lot of sense on many different levels. And it's very profitable that way too, especially if you have the right people and everything's set up and running. And then you can just oversee it. It makes
Absolutely.
perfect sense to me. And what I'd like to do, I'd love to have you on again sometime. And it was not the best thing that my Wi-Fi shut off for a few minutes. I don't know why it did that, but it's back on now.
Well,
Anyways,
we're at the have the technologies today, right?
yeah.
Let's stay in touch. I'd be more than happy. Come back on again. We can, dive in on a topic or two or so. But I mean, to your point, even being a parent, you want to have your kids as long as possible. But technically, your kids are always going to grow up and leave you, possibly get married, start their own family, and repeat the same thing. If you never start a business without the possibility of what's going to happen when you're there, you're not going to want to do that until you die. Well, when you have kids, at some point they're going to leave you. A company is the same. So if you build it and build that relationship with your children that they have independence early on, you're not going to be the one when you finally take your child to school crying, right? Because you know they were going to leave to go to school.
Right.
You're not going to be the one crying as you walk them down the aisle, right? So they were eventually going to get married. So if you start with the end in mind, the journey is a beautiful one, and you're just waiting to see that thing grow up and leave.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Well, one last thing I will say again, my website is joresults.com. Just go to that and got my free ebook there. If you're a single guy and you want to learn dating advice, or, I know a fair amount about business and I have business people on, life coaches, dating coaches, a wide array of intelligent people. You can go to my site or I'm on Facebook here, so you could just message me as well. You can send me a DM. And the Underdog Millionaire is a brilliant mind as well. And he gave his information, and I'll have a link below to his stuff as well. And we will talk soon. This was a very nice conversation, and I'll end it here.